Hey guys, I'm Ian.
And I'm Kyley.
And this is how God rescued us.
Well, I guess my story starts from when I was a baby. My mom was schizophrenic and my dad is bipolar. When I was about 7 months old, though, my mom was murdered. And she was my primary caretaker. At that point, she and my dad were going through a divorce, so she had her own apartment. And it was a Wednesday, so she dropped me off with my dad's parents and him, and then she went and got her dose for her schizophrenia, and she went home to sleep it off, and my aunt went to find her the next day, and she had been stabbed. Then at that point, my dad became my primary caretaker, but my grandparents, his parents, had temporary custody of me with him when I was about 5 and 6. I really didn't want to spend time with him anymore, so I started staying with my grandparents more, but he lived in an apartment upstairs, so he could still come down and see me. When I was 9, it was my cousin Mary Beth's birthday, so my aunt was over with all of her kids, and he was like sitting in the chair, and he said that we should all go get ice cream, and my aunt was like, "Dad, you know you can't take us to get ice cream, like you're not feeling very well, so we're gonna go." And they all kissed him goodbye, and he asked my dad if he could help him to the bathroom, and while he was in the bathroom, he I don't know, just like his heart gave out and he stopped breathing. So eventually my dad's sister came to pick me up because my grandma couldn't get me to go to school. But little did I know that they had a prearranged agreement about changing my custody over to her because they knew that my grandma wouldn't be able to take care of me. So she ended up marrying a pastor of a non-denominational church, and we were never close and we never had a good relationship, but she made the promise to her dad before he died that she would take me in, so she did. For a while it went okay. I was really happy and it was fun to live on the farm and play with everyone, but then eventually I guess started, in her mind, acting up. She would assign me an assignment and I wouldn't turn it in on time because I was afraid to bring it to her, and she just started hitting me and she started grounding me, and basically like 24/7 I would be doing like schoolwork. So like if I didn't have a homework assignment, I would be rewriting my textbooks. So I couldn't go anywhere with them anytime the whole family was invited somewhere. She wouldn't let me go, so at this point she had another baby. So she had a 2-year-old and she had a new baby, so she would yell at me that I was taking her away from her newborn child because she had to deal with me because I was such a problem. And I don't know, like it started with spanking, but she would spank me so hard she would break spoons when she was hitting me, and then it led to like she would just slap me, and she just, I don't know, like I guess I brought out the worst in her because like I said, I saw her hit my cousin John once when my uncle wasn't home, but normally she let him deal with punishing us, but with me she just like would fly off the edge. And I just remember, I think I was like 11, and I was like, life would be so much easier if I was just dead. Eventually my uncle like interceded on my behalf and got between us one time when she was trying to get to me, and she ended up like falling down the stairs because he was trying to stop her, so she kicked me out. And at that point I think I was like 12, and I went to live with my mom's parents. So I was really still just like missing my mom and looking for someone to love me, I guess. And I started to get really depressed about the stuff that had happened to me when I was a kid, and especially losing my grandpa, and then the stuff that happened to me with my aunt, and I thought it was my fault that she did that stuff to me because that's what she told me. she told me that God couldn't love me. So one night I just took a bunch of Tylenol because I was in pain and I just wanted the pain to stop. So I just stayed up all night to see if I was gonna die or not. I was in a psychology class and we were talking about the effects of childhood abuse and sexual abuse, and my teacher started going through the symptoms that you can look at kids and recognize, like they wet the bed, they don't sleep at night, they're afraid of the dark, and these are all things that I had dealt with from when I was little. They are hyper aware of their I don't know, sex, even though they're a little kid. And I used to think about sex when I was little, and I thought something was wrong with me, and I just all these pieces clicked into place, and I was like, oh my God, so not only did my dad emotionally and verbally abuse me, but he also probably sexually abused me, and I had a panic attack. But all throughout high school I had my friend Amy, and she started dating a Christian boy when we were in high school, and she got married to him out of high school because she got saved through dating him. And well, I'm gonna call Amy because I don't know what else to do. And so she just kind of loved me and didn't condemn me for it, and I just started spending more time with them. I got closer with Doug's brother, who was a Christian but wasn't going to church. But I was like, well, maybe I'll be safe with him because he believes in God, so this should be different. So we were okay for a while, but we just both were looking really for someone to save us, and we pinned all of our hopes on each other, and we basically started drowning because of it. I just couldn't rescue him from what he was going through, and I knew he wasn't going to be the one to rescue me. I had decided that I was going to go to church with them. I was going to go to Bible study anytime that I could. I was going to read my Bible between work and whatever I was doing, and I was going to focus on my friendship with Amy and Doug and focus on Jesus. And around that time, this kid, Ian, started showing up, and because he was friends with Doug, and Doug worked at the pizza place, and I would visit Amy and Doug at work now that I lived with them and bring them donuts and stuff. And I kind of knew him at that point. We kind of knew each other. Sometimes he would come over to Amy and Doug's house. I would see him at the pizza place, or if the owners of the pizza place had a party, he would be there too. Or I'd see him at Dunkin' Donuts because he really loves coffee. So he would come to Dunkin' Donuts, and we started having this running joke that he was my Dunkin' Donuts boyfriend. And they said we were gonna fall in love and get married, and we did.
I had a pretty easy childhood, I guess. Nothing really, compared to Kyley, nothing major. Really, I had a really loving family and good people around me. As I got older, I started to resent going to church. I just felt like it was so empty, and I didn't understand why I had to ask a priest to tell God to forgive me, if God really cared about me, or if He really existed. And I was coming up as a teenager, and I was insecure about who I was and about my identity, and I didn't know where I belonged, and I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. I really took solace in music a lot at that time, and a lot of the music that I listened to, I knew that they were doing drugs and they were on different stuff, and I was like, hey, maybe I should try that. So a couple of my friends and I started experimenting with smoking weed. Eventually, I was dealing drugs. I was dealing weed, and I started doing mushrooms and just really getting into the party culture and drinking all the time. I remember there was one party, and I was standing, and I was just I was really messed up, and I was just looking around at everybody, and everybody everybody was just wasted and like stumbling all over the place, and I was like, man, what is this? Like, what am I doing? You know, and even in that moment of like being completely inebriated, like I don't remember what I was doing. I know I was definitely high and drunk, and I was like, man, this is messed up. Like, what are we doing? This like it just seemed wrong. I started working at Pizza Supreme in Port Alvin, the pizza place, and you should go there if you're ever in New York because it's great pizza. But they're all believers there. Well, for the most part, the owners are, and so I would come in, you know, and I'd be a little high coming into work and stuff, and I guess they noticed that, and they knew I was that kind of kid, but they hired me anyway, thank God. I think they saw what I could be, and not what I was. And God really used them. So I'd be working there and they'd be talking about God and Jesus, and it really got under my skin because I didn't like that, man. Like, I was totally against it at that point. I said I was an atheist, and I was chasing after girls, and I didn't want anything to do with that, but I kept working there because it was a job, and they were good dudes. Like, despite all that, they were nice guys. And so I developed a relationship with them over the next probably 2 years. I remember one night, it was 2 in the morning, and we were still at the pizza place, and they were talking to me and sharing the gospel with me. And instead of putting up this wall like I normally did, I just kind of like let it come in, and I was just listening, and the gears were turning in my head, and I was like, man, this kind of makes sense. And I just, right there, like, they were asking me, so do you want to come to church, and do you want to blah blah, and I was like let's do it right now. And I surrendered, and I just gave all that, and I received Christ right by the dough table in the back at the pizza place, and that was really the turning point in my life, obviously. And he took everything, all the drugs and the hopelessness and the alcohol, and he just took all that from me and completely changed me from the inside out. It wasn't overnight, but through their discipleship at the pizza place and the ministry that they had with me, they raised me up, and that's how I was rescued.
I need you, Jesus, my